If you're in video production, you're going to need lavalier mics. Today, we're going to take a look at the Synco G2 and see if this little puppy stands up to the test. Now, I might be the depth director, but it doesn't change the fact that you always need to walk home from set having gotten good sound capture. And that's where a lavalier and a boom microphone are one of those things that should just be as essential to your camera as the camera itself and the lenses, because when you have clients, they're going to expect you to come home and deliver good sound. Now, I may have some hearing limitations, but I can use meters and other tools like that. And sometimes I have someone on set to help me that allows me to overcome those situations. And it's kind of fortuitous because I've been looking for a wireless lav to kind of update my system. And I was recently contacted by Pergear, and they asked me if I would be interested in reviewing the Synco G2 wireless lav system. And I researched this a little bit before I said yes. And yeah, I decided to go ahead and review this. Now, full disclosure, they did send me a version of this to review. I am not being paid for this, and they do not get to see this or approve it in any way, shape, or form before I let this out. This is a completely honest review from me about what I think about this product and if this could be a product that I think could help you. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this. This is the Synco G2 wireless 2.4 gigahertz wireless lav transmitter. And it's a really, really cool system. It goes under the line that a lot of lavs are coming out here. This goes with the Rode Go, which you're probably very familiar with, the Go 2. And what's great about this is it's both a transmitter and a receiver, but the transmitter has a microphone for standard lavalier, but it also has a microphone built in here on the top of the transmitter. And where this is great is if you're a run and gun shooter, which is really what I think these are really for, it means you don't have to put on a lavalier, wire it all up and go. You can literally, if you wanted to, you could clip that right on your shirt. All of a sudden, you're good to go. And I think this is where a lot of the lavalier systems are going. And what's really interesting about this is the price. This is only $129 for the whole system. So let's talk about what this is and what you get for that $129 system. The first thing that really surprised me when I got this is a pretty good build, I'll be honest. I mean, lavaliers get put on bodies, they get popped around and dropped around, and you want it to be fairly sturdy. And this feels like a pretty sturdy build. It's heavy duty, hardcore plastic from what I can tell. And what's really nice too is it's got basically an LED screen that lets you can see a readout very, very clearly here of what's going on. So you can see your levels very easy. And it's just got a really basic, simplistic design. I mean, each of these has buttons. I'll go to those in a minute, but you know, the system's very, very simple. You can see it's paired right here, and it's basically ready to roll. Now, what I was really impressed with when I got this was how much stuff actually came in the box for $129. You don't get just the transmitter and the receiver. You actually get a carrying case with it, which was really, really helpful. I can't believe when I was testing this out, how awesome it was to have this little case I could just zip up and take with me, and really convenient. Everything fit right in there and came with it. The other thing that came with it that I was blown away with was it actually comes with a lavalier microphone that comes with the mic itself. And it's a decent lavalier. I mean, what's great, it has a clip, it has a little windscreen here for you to get on there, and you can pop it on there. And I actually really prefer lavaliers over, you know, clipping a receiver to my clothes just because I think it's more discreet. And I loved having the option to have both of these. And the great thing is it all fits right there in the box, which is cool. It also comes with a dead cap that you can actually clip on and fit super easy right here on the top. And this, I found this work really, really well when I got out there. Now, some of the features of this that are pretty interesting are, one, Synco likes to say that this has a 230-foot, 70-meter transmission range. And 230 feet is very, very far. And they say they do this by using FHSS, which is frequency hopping spread spectrum. And what that does, it basically actively detects the current environment around you and then automatically switches to assign an optimal signal frequency. And I'm going to go in a little bit about what my discovery was at when I talk about the range. But I can say without a doubt, you can definitely get easily over 150, 160 feet very, very reliably on this, which is incredible in giving you the ability to be more creative in how you get your shot. Another thing that came with the kit that I was just really impressed with, honestly, is this. This is a USB-C charger system, which is how you charge it. It has built-in lithium batteries. I'll talk about in a second. But what's great about this is that this has two chargers at once. So you can literally be in a situation, you plug in one cable and you're charging both your receiver and your transmitter once. Super awesome. I love this. When I got this, it was so easy to charge it. The other thing is that these do use lithium ion batteries, but they're supposed to last you for 8 hours of continuous filming. I haven't done anything that long, but I can say I've been testing these pretty intensively for the last 2 or 3 days, and I'm still on my first charge. So they do last a pretty good amount of time. I haven't done 8 hours of straight filming, but just the on and off filming and doing what I've been doing, they have lasted me for a good amount of thing. Another thing that's good about these, if you forget to charge it after the previous recording, they make use of a quick charge, which basically means if you have a bunch of interviews and you forgot to charge, you can get up to 50% power in 40 minutes charging this and 80% in 1 hour, which is good because I know I'm the kind of guy that will probably show up on set sometimes and maybe forget to charge it. The other thing that's good is if you're doing an interview and you have someone else coming in, you can probably take it off, pop this in, and get a quick boost in power if you're worried about it, which is really, really handy. So all that comes in the case. And then you also get connection cables that go both to your cameras and a phone cable that comes with this kit. So it's just a huge amount of stuff that comes in one kit for $129. I was actually really, really impressed with it. Now let's talk about how this thing actually works. So you start off here with a transmitter, and the transmitter, like I said, I like it. It's simple and it's clean. There's not much to it. There's a microphone on the top. There's an input for your mic if you want to put your lavalier here on the side. You have a charging port, and you basically have a power button. But the great thing about this power button, it actually can double as a mute. So if you're in a situation you want to mute someone or someone going to the bathroom, whatever, they can just hit mute and you're good to go. And then on the side here, you basically have a reset switch if you need to reset it for anything. And there is a low pass cut here. This is really great because if you're in a place with a lot of AC or low ambient noise, it's a really nice way to get rid of all that ambient noise by doing it. And then there's a pairing button. And that's pretty much it. And the other thing that I really like is I have a battery indicator and I have a little levels line so I can see. This is helpful for me if I'm away from my camera. I can just quickly look down and see what my levels are like for the lab going to there so I know that I'm not clipping and being safe. Now, the receiver is a little different. It's kind of the same thing. Once again, you have the power button and the charging thing here on the side. On the top, you have an out that you can put to your camera or your phone or a recorder if you have like maybe a Zoom or something like that. And you have a headphone jack. And on the side here, you have the reset button. But what's good is you have a volume control right there. And what's really nice about this, I'll put this there. I don't know if you can see it, but if I hit it, it'll cycle through 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15, and then it cycles back down to 0. So I found this to be really, really good because I did love having that ability to adjust my sound, because if I was using a lavalier, I was getting a little different input than if I was using the mic on top. Now, who do I think these things are really for? I think these kind of lavaliers are fantastic for YouTube channel and content creators specifically. And I think if you're doing a lot of interviews and more passive sound like that, these are great options too. Now, the clip-on mic is definitely for YouTubers because it's just so fast. I mean, the great thing is you can take this out of the box, cut it on, and literally be recording a lavalier mic in less than 60 seconds, which is really awesome. And if you're a content creator, this is something you're going to want. And now you can clip this on a t-shirt kind of like this and do that. That's a little big. I don't like that. What I do find is that these are way more practical as clip-ons if you have something on. So let's take a look at something that we could use that for. Okay, so here I am. Now I have a button-up shirt. This is something you might walk into clients a lot. And if you do have this, I find you can actually take it and maybe slip it there on the shirt. It's a lot more discreet this way. It's not that bad, and you can still get good sound from it. Another area that you could go would be a tie. Now, you could also take this exact same thing and almost clip it back here on the back of a tie if you wanted to be a little more discreet and do that. And it's not that obnoxious to look at, and you can still get good sound from it. So, there's some options here. Now, I'll be honest, if you have someone with a tie, you're probably going to end up using a lavalier, but it's nice to know how you could use it. I wouldn't use this out in the field with a button-up shirt or a tie. I'd probably use something like this. So this is my old school, been on many trips with me. I always have a lot of video and photo vests when I'm out on the field. And this is something that I would actually use it for. And what's great is if I am doing a YouTube thing, I could basically take this, slip it in a pocket like this, and boom, I am good to go. I have a lavalier mic. It's indiscreet and it's out of the way. And what's really good, let's say I'm in an area, like say I'm in a square in Paris or in Italy or something. I could set my camera on the other side of the square and walk to the camera and know I'm getting good signal from this. And it's indiscreet. I'm not near my camera. No one would even see the microphone on me. This would be really, really nice. I could definitely see this as a benefit if I was doing traveling and wanted to get some blog information. I always say the proof is in the pudding. Let's go outside. I wanted to do some tests with this. I want to show you some of the tests I was able to do with this, just so you can get an idea for what it looks like. So let's go ahead, take a look outside. Okay, so I'm outside now. I'm about 150 feet away from my camera, and I wanted to do some tests just to check the claims of this 230 feet, 70 meter distance. They say you can get transmission from this line of sight to the camera. And I've actually been doing some tests pretty much all day. And the thing I've discovered is that you can get up to 230 feet and 70 feet, and then it just knocks off. The thing is, you have to have a perfect line of sight. There can be no interference. You can even see right up here, I have a metal mailbox right beside me. Even that can add just a bit of interference. And I have some hills here that could do it. So what I want to do, I feel that this microphone is great at 150 feet in. It's rock solid. Once you go to 150 to 200, I'd say it's about 90% good. And over 200 feet, you can get a signal, but it can break up. So what I'm gonna do is first things, I'm gonna start off here. I'm just gonna start walking backwards from 150 feet. And I'm just gonna show you sort of what you can expect. I'm gonna keep on talking. I don't know if it's going to fall out or when it's going to fall out. But right now, I'm getting real close to about 200 feet, coming up on 200 feet right about here. And I'm coming back now right into the 2 range right about here. 30 feet, 70 meters as far as it goes. I kept the signal. I hope back now. Hopefully the signal will get. What I have discovered, the signal is pretty good at getting back up. And as you're doing this, what you're going to see is the distance you go. This is where that FHSS really comes in, because it'll try and pick up your frequencies and switch channels as you go further away, and that can be a helpful thing. Now, I don't know how practical it is that you even need to shoot 230 feet away from your camera. I think 100 feet, which is about what I am right now, this is what works really, really well. And this is really where I think most of you who are content creators will really benefit from having a cheap portable lavalier mic that you can just have in your bag ready to go to slap on your camera, because having something like this really affords you the opportunity to compose and create shots that are different and interesting and unique. And it just unleashes what you can do with the camera and where you can take it. And this thing is a tool that, in my opinion, I've been very impressed with the distance I can get from it, the clarity I can get from it. And it's just so small and it's so compact that it works really well. So I'll be interested to see, once I take this in the computer, how far my sound did carry. But I would say if you're looking for a lavalier that can get you easily 150, 170 feet, this one can definitely meet that requirement. You technically can get to 230 feet. I have gotten to 230 feet, but it's really dependent on perfect line of sight, and there can be no metallic interference or anything on there, basically like that. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to check out the dead cat for the onboard camera here that is on the transmitter. And in order to do this, I wanted to be fair, actually try to get some wind, and I realized the wind is somewhat inconsistent, and I don't know if that's the best way to do it. So what I'm doing is I'm here on my Segway, and basically I figured I would get this thing up to full speed, I'll keep talking, and we'll see how the dead cat does with this thing going on at full speed. So get my Segway up here going on the road, and as you can see, I'm just sitting here. Now the dead cat, this should be a pretty windy situation, I think, that you might find yourself in with a dead cat, that you're gonna wanna have that help to do it. So basically, I'm just gonna talk here, get this thing done, randomly talk so you can kind of see what the dead cat will do at a pretty good clip of speed here. Now that I've done that, let me pop off the dead cat, take it, I'm gonna slip it in my pocket. I'm gonna go and reverse this, and I'll do the same thing at speed with the dead cat off. Let's just see if there's any difference there. I'm not monitoring this with headphones right now. I probably should be, but you know, we'll go on the computer and see what we got. But this is basically me trying to talk with the dead cat off. This is just natural sound hitting the microphone as it is on the Synco. So not quite sure how it sounds, but we'll go and see, and hopefully my neighbors won't think I'm too crazy running down the street talking to myself on a Segway. Now, what I want to do is one last little test to show you. I'm just speaking now. I'm using the microphone that comes on side the transmitter itself, just so you can hear the sound differences between this and the lavalier. And I just wanted you to hear that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the lavalier. Okay, and here we go. We got the lavalier on. And as you can see, the lavalier is going to give you a little different sound quality, as is to be expected. And I like it because it's just so much more discreet and do it. And if you have the chance to put this lavalier on, I would recommend doing it. I just think it's how you get the best sound, but I do love the ability to get the quick mic sound you can get from the onboard transmitter mic. Now, one other thing I really, really like about this is that because it does have a lavalier, I can actually take more expensive lavalier mics that I have. I have one right here. This is one that I use for my Sennheiser system, and I can actually plug this into this system and use it. Let's take a look and see what that looks like. Okay, and now I've got a much, much more expensive mic that I use for my Sennheiser system. And what I love about this is that you do get a lavalier mic inside this case. It's good to go, having that flexibility. But if you're in a situation where maybe you want to use a more expensive lav for whatever reason, you can still plug it in there and use this as a transmitter and a receiver and still get really good sound. What I want to do now is just go over what I usually do, which is talk about the pros and cons of the system and let you decide if this is something that may work well for you as a content creator. Now, the first pro, I would just say this. You get a huge amount of stuff in one box. I was actually completely shocked when I opened up the box and saw everything I got. Not only do I get the transmitter and the receiver, I get a lavalier mic, I get the cables to plug it in, and I get the dead cat and the windscreen for my lav. So these things all are useful. You need them all. Really, really happy to see it. Just an incredible punch for that package. If you're looking to start off and you want to get that first lavalier wireless package, this literally will get you everything you need right in one fell swoop. Pro number two, I would say, is I thought it sounded great. I mean, I couldn't really tell really any major difference between this and any other sound things I had. It was definitely good enough for me to get the sound I need, especially for YouTube content. And I would be comfortable taking this in a controlled environment for interviews to get interview sound. Pro number three is I would say it is simple to operate. I do not want to fiddle and mess with things when I get on the field. I just want it to work. This did it. Very, very easy, very, very nice. I also like how it had such a small, clean footprint. I put this thing on my camera and it was incredibly discreet. It did not call attention to itself. It stayed out of the way, and I really, really liked it. Another pro that I think is really awesome is they have an ingenious little clip on it. The clip actually clips into your cold shoe on the camera, and it can clip onto your clothes itself. So it's a really nice, diverse clip. I thought that was really just a cool design. I like that a lot. Really, really like that. The battery life was pretty good from what I could tell. I wasn't able to run through it, and good battery life when you have a lavalier is one of those things you're going to want to have. Another pro is the dead cat coming with it. I didn't think the dead cat would be that big of a deal, but the dead cat works surprisingly well, especially if you're using that onboard mic. It really did a great job of cutting off the sound. And I really liked, as another pro, I really liked having the option of having both onboard and lavalier mic options. I mean, there are times I'm going to want to use a lavalier like this, and there's times that I just really might want to go fast and dirty and use that onboard mic, and I liked having that option. I thought it was really flexible. It is something I'm definitely going to be using in the future when I shoot. Another pro on this is that I could get really good and consistent sound out to 150 feet. And that's pretty darn far. I mean, I really liked having that ability to get that sound that far. And once again, I can already feel myself being able to be more free in how I shoot YouTube content, because I know I can get that sound and not have to worry about the distance. Quick charge was also a really nice feature. I like being able to plug this thing in and charge them so quick when I needed to. And really the last thing that I think is just the last pro that you got to go in there is the price. This is $129 for all this stuff. You can actually get a dual transmitter version of this for $199. That's less than $200 to give you 2 transmitters and a receiver. And if you are a content creator who's looking to get in lavalier mics, I would have to say I don't know of anything that'll allow you to get in there this affordably with this level of quality. It really, really makes it a hard thing not to take. Now, there are a couple cons to this, and we should talk about. The first con is this. They do market this as being able to go work reliably at a full distance of 230 feet, 70 meters. And in my experience, it was not reliable at that gigantic 230-foot, 70-meter distance. I found it to be very reliable at 150 feet and in, and you could get it about 80, 90% once you were between 150 to 200. But once you got over 200 feet, I found it, if there's any sort of interference, anything like that, I found it to be very spotty. So if for some reason you need a microphone that works gigantic distances away, this may not be the best option. If you're okay with 150 feet, this could be good, but I do think that's something that you should know. Another con that I would say is, while I love the fact that you can adjust the volume on the receiver on this to get the sound dialed in, you can't control the volume on the transmitter itself. I have not been able to find any way to do that here on the transmitter. And that's never a big deal for me if I'm doing commercial applications or interviewing someone. However, for a lot of YouTube stuff, which I could see myself using that, it would be nice just to basically be able to control my gain right here on the transmitter instead of having to go to the receiver. So just something to be aware of as well. Another small con, and this is really getting nitpicky right here, is simply, I love the clip on it. I love how you can clip it on close or slide that into a cold shoe mount and give you that option. I just personally would love to see a 1/4-inch mount option somewhere on this. I understand the device is so small, it's pretty tough, but I'm always using 1/4-inch adapters for all kinds of things. So it would have been nice to have that just to make it completely versatile. That being said, there are some other options out there you can get from SmallRig and other things that you can basically modify this cold shoe to get yourself a 1/4-inch mount if you need it. And really my final verdict on it is this. After having been able to test this thing out pretty extensively for the last 3 days, I was just absolutely pleasantly surprised at the quality and how much you got for such an incredible, affordable price. If you are a YouTuber or a content creator, or maybe you're someone that's just starting your video business and you need to get a great set of options and your price is limited, this is a great piece of equipment to get. You can get this for $129, and if you can get a dual transmitter system for $199. That's less than $200, and you get 2 lavalier mics and a system that you can record straight in your camera. That for me is, having dealt with lavaliers in the past, is just a unbelievably affordable price, especially for something that the quality is this good and lets you use different microphones and lavaliers as you go. So I would definitely recommend this. I think it's actually a really good product. I was really pleasantly surprised when I got it. And that's basically what I have to say about that. Anyway, I hope that was helpful for you out there. Please leave me any questions or comments if you have anything to say about this below. I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, guys, go out there, keep on shooting, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon.